are today with us. Mr. Abdullah Zayed, Ministry of Tourism and Environment of the Republic of Maldives. His Honorary Consul Luca Fiormonte, Mr. Gianmaria Sannino from Enea, and Mr. Lattanzio, Secretary General of Ambiente Vivo. Right. And of course, I thanks all you that are here in person or online or connected, and it is a pleasure to see many young people, many students interested to this problem, because this is a problem that concerns all of us, and of course especially people who live on the coast, work on the sea, by the sea. And because we must think that our coastline are not just borders in a map, in there are living ecosystems, economic lifelines, and cultural treasures. So now all this is under pressure because of the rising of sea levels, stronger storms, changing sediment plankton, and many others, phenomena who are affecting the communities of ports, tourism, and biodiversity. And there are many signs that you can see. In any case, we can see it, especially in the Mediterranean, but we know that all over the world there are inevitable effects from the changing of the climate. We think that as Federazione del Mare, we think that this challenge requires not only a scientific understanding, but a strong cooperation between public institutions, business, and also citizens. And combining innovation, sustainable development, and maritime culture maybe could be possible to build a resilience and protect the natural coast. I stop here. I am confident that the conversation of today will provide the important insight and practical idea for moving forward together. I thank you all for being here again. I wish you a nice discussion, and I pass the floor to our Edward Moura, Chairman of the Commonwealth Club of Rome, who will lead today's roundtable discussion. Okay.
Thank you very much to Federazione del Mare, and we're sure Laurence would be disappointed that she can't be here with you, but Nolly's obviously stepped in and filled that space. We thank Federazione for providing this venue and for their hospitality, and we feel very privileged to be in Palazzo Colonna to discuss these very important issues. We thank also the Festival of the Diplomacy, who were part of that festival for 10 days. We thank Giorgio Bartolomucci, who was here earlier today. We have evidence of that. We captured a photo of him here. But he has to do 10, 12 events today, so he has to keep moving. But we do have a representative, Elisa, from Federazione. Did you want to say a few words?
Yeah. Thank you again for having me. It's an honor for me to be here again for the second time. So I represent the Diplomacy Festival. It's the very first time I work for this organization, and it's been an honor for me to be a part of this family, as I said the last time. So, in my opinion, it's important that the youth faces the problem of climate change, because we are not also the future, but we are also the present. So it's important that you students are here, and on the behalf of the Festival della Diplomazia, I want to thank Federazione del Mare, Palazzo Colonna for hosting us again. And right now I don't want to steal other time to the speakers. So thank you again. And on the behalf of the Festival della Diplomazia, let's start this important topic.
Thanks again to the festival. And before we have to manage today the intervention of the Minister of State at 10:30. So we have about 10 minutes, which I'll do a quick introduction of who are here, because this is a round table, so we want everybody contributing. I'll give a quick introduction of who are or supposed to be here, and we'll actually go around the table and everybody can very quickly introduce themselves, because after the Minister, there'll be a chance, hopefully, to ask a couple of questions to the Minister. Then there'll be our other speakers, and Gianni has to leave at 11:10 because there's something at Parliament, so we need to get him in and be able to ask him a couple of questions, and then it's all us. But I think we'll take this next 10 minutes for a quick introduction. So we have, from the speaker side, we have from the Republic of Maldives, the Minister of State from the Ministry of Tourism and Environment, the Honourable Abdullah Ziad, who is going to be joining us online in 10 minutes. We have his consul in Rome, Luca Fiormonte, who is to my left here. We have from the Camera dei Deputati and Secretary General of Ambiente Vivo, Gianni Lattanzio, to my right, as speakers. And we have Mr. Gian Maria Sanino from Enea, Italy's National Agency for New Technologies, Energy and Sustainable Economic Development, just beyond the consul. We also have here today, they're not all arrived yet, but from the Bangladesh Embassy, my friend Mr. Alamin, and we should have from Mozambique, another Commonwealth Embassy, and Spain, who hopefully are just caught up in traffic and will join us. We also have some corporates here today. We have some corporates from EGEOS, we have Almaviva, and we have Titan 4. So it's good that today we not only have diplomatic representation or diplomatic voices, but we also have corporate voices. We also have legislative voices. So we have different facets that can contribute to this conversation. Of course, we have today as well our members of the Commonwealth Club. I won't name them one by one, but we have a very healthy group of members from our Commonwealth Club who are, being 56 countries, many come from countries of which this today's subject is of particular concern. And last but not least, the students that are here today. So we're very glad that there will be that sort of contribution to the debate, the sort of fresh mind, inquisitive mind that a student has. You know, don't let me down now, students. You know, this, we want to have some very curious questions coming from you during today's debate. Okay, so that's the rough idea of who's here. So we may do a quick round. I think the Honourable Abdullah Zayad has joined us online, the Minister of State. So welcome to you, Minister. We're just doing an introduction of our participants at this round table. So we've introduced the panel and Festival of Diplomacy. So maybe we'd start with you, John. You just your name and what organisation you're with, other than the Commonwealth Club, and a one-liner if you like, because you'll be able to enter the debate later.
Okay, thank you, Edward.
Mike. Mike.
Good morning, everybody. My name is John Douglas Stewart. I work for JSC1. We are a SME company working on environmental research. We're currently working on the Horizon Europe project Biocapital, which is aiming to mobilize private investments to promote biodiversity.
Good with technology, Paul.
Hello everyone, my name is Paul Redmond. I'm managing partner of Unity Financial Partners. We're a consulting company. Currently we're developing a model for sustainable financial planning, and I'm particularly passionate about Laudato Si, which is the document on the encyclical Care for Our Common Home from Pope Francis. And so I'm here today because I want to see how we can use this as a forum for developing positive change and how money can be used to serve people and planet and not the other way around. Thank you.
My name is Francesco Droneo. I work for Almaviva. We approach for climate change and cost erosion is multi-level. Remote sensing, we use remote sensing, but also digital twin, simulation. We have a collaboration with for climate change with the CMSC and other organizations. Thank you.
Do the students want to, or we skip you? Anyone want to say something quick? Just name and what university are you from?
Okay, we are from hi everyone, good morning. We are from Tor Vergata University and we attend the course of Global Governance, and we are all very, very honored to be here, and thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Good morning to everyone. My name is Vincenzo Gangeli and I'm part of the Commonwealth Club, and I'm very happy to join since I'm very interested in climate change and how coastal erosion can affect international relations in this very crazy geopolitical world that we're living in now.
Thanks, Vincenzo.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Anna Maria Mitrea, and I'm also a member of the Commonwealth Club. And I'm also here because I'm very interested in climate change and how it affects us and our future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Indra?
Yeah, good morning to everybody. I'm Indra Pereira, Honorary President of CNA, National Confederation of Small and Medium Enterprises, and also a member of the Commonwealth Club. And coming from an island, Sri Lanka, so I'm very much curious to know what is the future situation of these islands, especially Maldives. You know, those are the islands that will be affected this climate change. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Camille Appert. I am working for Titan 4. Titan 4 is a spin-off of ESA. So we deal about satellite data to help population to fit about this problem.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Giovanni Quacquarelli. I'm the CEO of Titan 4. As my colleague said, we use space data to help public and private company. We work with the government, and we are participated by the Cassa Depositi e Prestiti, the National Fund, and we are honored to be here to give our help if it's needed.
We're very happy that you're here.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Patricia Bernadette Berardi. I'm the Vice President of the Confederazione Australia. I'm an architect, so our main goal is climate change and environment and coastal erosion. I hope to see you. This is my first time here, but I hope to see you again at the beginning of the new year and have a big discussion all together at our point of view. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I am Mohammad Al Amin, Counselor at the Embassy of Bangladesh. I am here to learn more regarding the things related to climate change and what the action we can take. I also want to take regarding this, because you know that Bangladesh is one of the most climate vulnerable countries. So I would like to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And right on time, it's 10:29, so I'll pass to our Consul Luca Fiormonte to introduce the Honourable Minister from Maldives.
Yes, thank you very much for the invitation and for the hospitality here in Palazzo Colonna. Let's introduce our State Minister of Environment Tourism of the Republic of Maldives. I represent Maldives for almost 20 years here in Italy. I'm the only diplomat here in Italy. So let me introduce the State Minister Abdul Ziad, that this is not only a State Minister of Environment Tourism, it's not a formal figure, but it's also specialized on this in coastal and erosion. He will tell you about everything. So please, Excellency, good morning, good afternoon for you. Let's go, and I give you the floor.
Thank you, Honorable Gentleman. Unfortunately, at the very last moment, I'm having a problem with my camera. So, but I hope you all are hearing me at this moment.
Yes, we hear.
Yeah. Thank you. It's good to be a participant of this gathering, and just a little brief from my side. I'm Abdullah Ziad. I am a Minister of State working in Ministry of Tourism and Environment. I'm trained as a civil engineer, actually. I graduated from University of Bahrain, and I'm working here, mostly to help island communities, to withstand the erosional effects and give more resilience to island communities. Now, as a small introduction, I would like to say something to you all. A very good afternoon to you all. It's both a great honor and privilege to speak about one of the most vulnerable nations on earth. It's my home country, the Maldives. Nation of extraordinary beauty and resilience, yet facing the stark reality of living with the effects of climate change. For us in the Maldives, climate change is no longer a debate. It's a living daily experience. Okay. So the impacts of climate change and climate change-induced events are already shaping our landscape. Coastal erosion and inundation events affect nearly 70% of our inhabited islands. As you are aware, we have about 185 inhabited islands and more than 1,000 small uninhabited islands. These events are impacting local communities around the Maldives. Some islands have already lost up to 30 meters of land widths along the coastal areas. So just imagine smaller islands with a normal area of something like 20 to 25 hectares. How much of land are we losing in some communities? Well, there are cases where we had to relocate people in recent decades due to the frequent coastal erosion. I recently visited one island community and they said that the outer ring road has been adjusted 4 times because of the inundation, the erosion that has taken place there. So as a nation where more than 80% of our islands have an elevation of less than 1 meter, and most critical assets such as utilities, transport hubs, and healthcare are located very close to the shoreline. So the sea level rise threatens to submerge a vast majority of our islands. Behind these statistics are families, communities whose cultural heritage and livelihoods are deeply tied to the ocean. We need to recognize that land loss is not just about territory. It's also about culture, history, heritage, and identity. Our language, traditions, and ancestral ties are inseparable from our islands. As sea rises, so do the risk grows for losing who we are. Although erosion is a natural phenomenon for coral islands such as Maldives, the dynamic nature of our islands and how they adjust to modifications made to them result in communities becoming more vulnerable to climate-induced stresses. When our islands develop over time, the need for accessibility and development rose exponentially. As you are aware, people cannot remain trapped in their smaller island communities. They need transport facilities. So as such, harbors are constructed, which are, of course, hard structures that are at the periphery of the islands, and this affects the whole hydrodynamics of the sea around these islands. So construction of harbors, airports, and reclamation to adjust to these pressures becomes a prevalent solution. Implementing such projects have brought great benefits in the local context, but for some islands, it has also diminished the island's capacity and resilience to climate events. Hard structures and coastal modifications restrict sediment transport and cause erosion around the island. While revetments and breakwaters become solutions in some cases, it's also important to understand that this is not applicable to all islands. Each island requires different and localized approaches to both mitigate and prevent erosion and inundation. However, we are seeing that even with sophisticated coastal protection systems in place, our islands cannot keep up with the pace of change induced by climate change. That being said, we have been working with a lot of international parties to address some of these challenges. We in our ministry, with funding support from ADB, is implementing a project already on climate resilience with the objective to strengthen the climate resilience of inhabited islands and agri-food systems. This project includes enhancing the weather monitoring capacity to support informed climate decisions to safeguard urban infrastructure, agricultural productivity, and food security. We're also in the process of formulating a nationwide integrated coastal zone management plan under JICA GCF co-finance project. The project name is Building Climate Resilient Safer Islands in the Maldives. We just signed one contract with the consultant to do detailed designing of coastal areas for 4 islands, just 2 days back. A plan that focuses on community-based beach maintenance and monitoring will also be included. This project also focuses on having soft solutions to preserve the natural aesthetic of target islands and enhancing the institutional capacity for long-term data collection, processing, and data-driven decision-making. So before I conclude this speech, I would like to briefly emphasize the importance of strengthening the Maldives' capacity to address climate change-induced events. As we all recognize, meeting the challenges of climate change requires informed, data-driven decision-making. To achieve this, there is a pressing need to build institutional capacity within Maldivian organizations throughout both targeted training programs and improved access to modern equipment and technology. I hope that together we can continue this conversation, working towards the resilient growth of our nation while safeguarding our identity for generations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Excellency. Are you ready for maybe some questions from someone, or to remain? How many minutes you can remain with us?
I think I can remain for about half an hour. I would wait.
Okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately, my colleagues are not here. I'm alone. And I got only 1 day. Information that to participate on this. But of course, based on my experience, I will try to participate as much as possible.
Okay, thank you very much, Excellency. So if there is any question for the State Minister.
We'll take one question now to ensure we catch the Minister, and then we'll do another speaker. Do we have a question now for the Minister? John?
Thank you very much, Minister. I was wondering if you could, the Maldives obviously is an important country, a part of the Commonwealth. I was wondering if you could say something about how the Commonwealth, the organisation, and being part of the Commonwealth is contributing, or can perhaps contribute more to addressing many of these coastal erosion problems that are affecting your country. Thank you.
Well, I would prefer. I joined this ministry just 1 year back, and maybe I may not have the institutional memory of what has have happened in the past, but I could say that we need more training. Of course, training more engineers, maybe surveyors, oceanographers, people who could contribute to data collection, designing, and understanding the changes that is occurring here. So maybe we could concentrate on the soft side of training our engineers and surveyors. That would be a good start.
Thank you, Minister. We will have another speaker now. Gianni, could you take the floor?
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here with you. Thank you to the Festival of Diplomacy. Thank you to Mr. Mura for the invitation to the organization here. Lawrence, no. Thank you very much. This is an important occasion to discuss about something that will be at the order, at the point, the agenda, political agenda, but also in the scientific agenda, in which the political agenda and the scientific agenda should dialogue and work together. The innovative approach to coastal protection. Sometimes what is innovative is also something that already exists. And protecting Italy's coasts is a matter of national security, economic competitiveness and territorial cohesion, which requires rigorous coordination between legal frameworks, planning and public finance across the entire institutional chain, from international level down to coastal municipalities. Over the past 60 years, more than 1,500 kilometers of Italian shorelines have retreated with an estimated loss of about 90 square kilometers of beach, while approximately 1,300 kilometers have advanced by 55 square kilometers due to reduced riverine sediment supply, alterations induced by maritime works, and evolving climatic pressures. These figures are not only an environmental alarm, but a political call to action. Every delay increases costs and vulnerability, particularly along urbanized stretches, strategic infrastructures, and tourism and production-related assets that sustain employment and local tax revenues. So now we see the legal framework. In the Mediterranean basin, the legal reference is the Convention for the Protection of the Marine Environment and the Coastal Region of the Mediterranean, Convenzione di Barcellona, which establishes principles and instruments of cooperation to prevent and reduce impacts on shared coastal and marine areas. Its implementation is strengthened by the protocol on, it is very important, on integrated coastal zone management and in the Mediterranean, which promotes an integrated land-sea approach, prevention and cross-border cooperation on planning, land uses, ecological corridors and sediment management. Italy ratified the protocol on integrated coastal zone management in the Mediterranean in 2023, consolidating coordination with the United Nations Environment Programme, Mediterranean Action Plan, and raising the level of ambition in coastal protection. At the level of the European Union, the directive establishing a framework for maritime spatial planning requires the adoption of plans that balance uses and ecosystem protection, provide for cross-border cooperation, and ensure interoperable data sharing to support evidence-based decisions. Directive 2008/56, establishing a framework for community action in the field of marine environmental policy, the Directive of Marine Strategy Framework, mandates achieving or maintaining good environmental status through an ecosystem-based approach, periodic assessment cycles, and coordinated programs of measures among member states. The Directive on the assessment and management of flood risks sets preliminary assessments, hazard maps, and management plans on 6-year cycles, explicitly including coastal areas and their interactions with marine dynamics. Integrating these European instruments helps avoid conflicts of views, optimize the resilience of settlements and infrastructures, and safeguard coastal ecosystem services that are essential for long-term prosperity. So we can see that we have different instruments, but the innovative approach is to integrate these instruments. At the national level, Legislative Decree number 112 of 98 assigns to the regions the programming, planning, and integrated management of coastal defense interventions, while the state is responsible for setting general guidance and criteria with technical scientific support from the Higher Institute for Environmental Protection and Research. The National Table on Coastal Erosion, established in collaboration with the coastal regions, produced a national guidance update in 2018 that collect experiences, intervention typologies, and guidance on restoring the sediment cycle and the river basin scale, promoting a paradigm shift from purely hard defense to integrated management. On the financial and the information side, the national repertoire of intervention for soil defense manages regional project proposals for hydrogeological risk, while the coastal portal and environmental indicators provide data infrastructures and metrics for monitoring and evaluation. The National Plan for Adaptation to Climate Change was approved by Ministerial Decree in 2023, setting out governance methodologies and priority adaptation measures, including those for coastal areas. The plan guides regions and municipalities toward nature-based solutions, basin-scale sediment management, and full integration with the Maritime Spatial Planning and the Marine Strategy Framework Directive, with periodic updates and financing priority criteria. This national framework creates an operational link between European objectives, regional responsibilities, and local project development, with clear expectations regarding monitoring and transparency of results. Coastal ecosystem services in Europe have been estimated at around 500 billion euro per year in 2018, including natural coastal protection, carbon storage, biodiversity, fisheries, and tourism, with potential losses between 4.2% and 5.1% by 2100 due to sandy beach erosion if adequate measures are not adopted. So it is urgent to act. Cumulative economic losses from weather and climate-related extreme events in Europe exceeded euro 822 billion in the period 1980-2024, with strong incidence in coastal areas due to direct damage, supply chain disruptions, and degradation of natural capital. This data motivate reallocating resources toward preventive investments based on risk and cost effectiveness analysis, prioritizing interventions that generate environmental, economic, and social co-benefits in the medium to long term. The protected coastline indicators and the sea and coasts data infrastructure of the Higher Institute for Environmental Protection and Research enable temporal and territorial comparison on pressure, state, and response, supporting ex ante and ex post evaluations of interventions. Directive 2014/89 on maritime spatial planning requires data exchange and interoperability to coordinate member states and build shared knowledge frameworks capable of guiding siting choices and mitigating conflicts among uses. European Initiative for Data Sharing in Maritime Spatial Planning strengthen the quality, comparability, and timeliness of information to the benefit of cross-border cooperation and the measurability of results. The national guidelines of the National Table on Coastal Erosion promote nature-based solutions such as restoring dune systems, wetlands, and natural barriers which can dissipate wave energy, reduce vulnerability, and maintain ecosystem services. Integrated sediment management includes reconstructing basin sediment budgets, reusing compliant dredged materials, and adaptive beach nourishment, reducing dependence on rigid works and along-shore impacts. Hybrid solution, the problem is that we have a big, a complex framework. I talk about 3 directives, European directives, and only saying what is about this directive. So we need to improve the directives, the international agreements, the national law, the regional law that I have not, about which I have not spoken, but we have regional laws also, and we need to integrate all this. But the innovative approach, what is, in this sense, could be some scientific innovation, could be some the use of technologies for the monitoring, could be. But first of all, the innovative approach is to integrate, to harmonize the laws that we have, the agreements that we have, to make the acts coordinated. It is not possible that a region is working in a direction and the region that is near is working the other direction. So we have a coast with different type of protection in space of 200 kilometers. This is not possible, but it's not possible not only in our country, but also in the Mediterranean and all around the world. So we need to have a framework and to act according to this framework. All what we do, yesterday evening, talking with my colleague of the presidency of the parliament, told me that in the Senate there is a discussion of a new decree about the sea. I haven't seen if there is also something about the protection of the coast, but for sure it is about the redefinition of the areas, yeah, and could be an occasion to harmonize all what we have. But we need to have also to implement something that is effective at international level. Now, at all the international meetings where I go, a lot of people say that the international law does not exist. I think that international law exists, that we need to work in the methodology that is multilateral agreements, the importance of multilateral agreements to make a framework useful to each area, to Italy, also to Maldives, to Italy, also to Bangladesh, also to what was Sri Lanka, because the minister just said that they have a problem to protect the coast and also to agriculture. Now, I have to go to the parliament to introduce the Congress, National Congress of Agronomists, and they have in their Congress at FAO also this theme of protect the environment according to the sustainability, and to the protection of our heritage. So, what we need to do? To act, to talk together, to establish a culture of protection of our landscape, also to modify our landscape, but to modify in a sustainable way, and to establish a culture of sustainability and the culture of coastal protection is useful also to the legislator and at the international level to act and to feel in the good environment to legislate and to write the good rules for the good governance. Thank you.
Thank you, Gianni. As a lawyer, I can sit here all day and listen, but we have the minister online, and we want to get, and you have to go very soon, so being a round table, we want to get an opportunity to ask one last question to the minister or to Gianni before we've now covered the governmental approach in many ways and the legislative approach. And before we pass to our speaker, who will have that scientific, technical approach to the problem, we will take this opportunity to speak with, see if there's any more questions for the Minister or for Gianni. Grab a mic.
Yes.
Say who the question is for and your name.
Okay, my question is primarily for Mr. Lattanzio. I'm sorry.
Okay, we may have to say goodbye to the Minister first.
Excellency, do you think we have to say hello to you? You have to go.
Hello? Is this for me?
Yes, yes.
To Minister Ziad,
Yeah.
Maldives?
Yes, it's for you.
Okay. Yeah, please. Still have about 10 minutes, and since I also have to go for another assignment, I would wait for another 10 minutes. And if you have any question regarding our work, kindly share with me.
Okay, thank you. So please proceed with the question.
Sorry. Hello. Thank you for this opportunity to be here. And I've picked out some points that I really wanted to ask about from your speech. So over the past decade, we witnessed an accelerated amount of climate-induced migration, and coastal erosion is one of the key pushers of this, and it also threatens food and water security to great extents, and even redraws maritime borders and changes what territories look like, how sovereign territories look like. Given these conditions, mustn't coastal erosion become a security issue and handled by in a security issue approach rather than an environmental one, an issue that demands coordinated planning in the defense? States allocate a big part of their budgets for national defense to defend their borders, to defend their citizens, such as Italy spending 7% of their GDP, 3 billion this year for national defense. And for example, 90 out of the 56 states in the Commonwealth, 49 are coastal states. But as stated, some sort of protection budget is allocated for coastal erosion rather than national defense, and the defense sector has adopted before to tackle some other approaches. For example, in the Carabinieri here in Italy, there is a heritage protection branch. Why not this area? This is my primary question. And my second question is, do we need a new definition of what defense sector looks like in the face of shifting oceans? shifting climate change, and what territory and border is in the age of shifting oceans? Thank you.
Okay, before we address that, we have a question for the Minister from Gianpaolo Grazian.
Thank you, Edward. Excellency, good afternoon for you, I suppose.
Good afternoon.
Just a little question, be personal, but be governmental as well. I've had the good fortune to be a guest at the Maldives Island Republic for over 10 years now, in a private island, which is privately managed. And I noticed that nearly every year, the management shifts, basically, sand dunes from one side to the island, of the island to the other. I wonder, obviously that's easily done because it's privately managed, but I wonder if there's a government plan to manage this at a global level, because I understand that the whole of the Republic is probably affected by this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Regarding the earlier question about heritage protection, yes, we have some heritage sites along the coastline, and there is a need to protect. Unfortunately, throughout the time, some of these heritage areas have been lost due to erosion, but now we are putting up an effort to protect these areas. Fortunately, we don't have any land borders with any country, so the any effects along the shoreline or loss of it will not have any implications on the boundaries. That's very fortunate for us. Our main problem is to deal with narcotics. I mean, people who smuggle these types of illicit items, since we have something like 1,200 islands, and there can be opportunities for pirates to smuggle. So this is a biggest security issue we have. Other than that, I don't think we have any problems with neighboring countries. Now, regarding the question which was shared regarding pumping sand dunes, yes, this is adopted still in some resorts, but this is not done in the island communities. What we are trying to do in communities is to construct groins along the shoreline so that during sediment transport process we could capture some sands and accumulate them, but that's not going to work everywhere. I mean, of course, studies have to be done quite rigorously to ensure once we construct these structures, we don't need to refer back and do alterations. And also we have to make sure that once before we plan this, it's not going to affect other areas of the islands. Unfortunately, what happened in the past is almost every community was demanding to have their own local harbors. And of course, as you know, construction of a harbor means permanent alteration of a coastal zone. Now, what happens is almost all these communities have their own fishing vessels, so they need to safely navigate inside. And as a result, we have to construct lots of approach channels that shields incoming waves so that they can navigate safely in. Now, what happens is these approach channels permanently alter the hydrodynamic process, whereby with time we get erosion taking place at some sections of the island. It may be seasonal, it may be all around the year. Some islands they have totally lost their coastlines, and this is very unfortunate for us, because having nice beaches and coconut palms is a part of our identity, and we don't need to lose that. And of course, putting hard structures like onshore revetments, it also affects a lot on the aesthetics of these communities. So we try not to go to these measures until all other avenues are exhausted. So one of our methods could be pumping of sand. Of course, if we have enough budget for that. But of course, in the tourism islands, since they have enough funds to do this, they do it regularly. But we don't do it in our communities. Hope I have answered to some extent.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you for that, and I guess we will thank you for your intervention today, because we'll now pass to Gianni Lattanzio, who needs to answer this last question before he has to leave for Parliament.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the question. It's an important question because in this period we are discussing about this. What kind of infrastructure could be considered a defense-connected infrastructure? So we don't know exactly. We are talking about this, but of this 5%, the 2% could be directed for to implement infrastructure to ensure the country. Could be a bridge, could be maybe, we don't know, could be some infrastructure that protect the coast or protect the port, the harbor. We are discussing about this, and but this is interesting because the 2% of this 5% could be directed to infrastructure for defense, for security, defense and security to ensure the country. Thank you. And now I have to ask you to forgive me because I have 10 minutes to arrive in the Parliament, so I have to leave. Thank you very much for discussing. The question is very, I told you, is a big, the problem is very, very big, and the approach is interdisciplinary, but it's important that we talk about this to create a culture of defense of the environment and of protection of the coasts. Thank you.
Thank you, Gianni. And Gianni's agreed to provide a copy of his speech, which unfortunately with timing situation we didn't get to quite finish, so that if anybody wants to have a copy of that, and also the Minister has agreed to provide a copy of his speech, so for everybody, for anyone who wants them, please contact us after this event to get a copy.
Excellency, do you like to say hello to everyone? Excellency Ziad?
Yes, thank you for giving this opportunity. It was a very short notice. Only yesterday evening I came to know about this. But of course, with the brief time available, I hope I have contributed to some extent.
Very much so, Minister, very much. Thank you very much again for your time, and we hope to continue this conversation in the future. Right now we
much appreciated.
Thank you, Minister. Right now we should turn to the technical aspect, and thank you for your patience, Gian Maria. And we're very interested to hear from Enea, where you work, and your expertise. In fact, this the preparation of this event started with an article, a very interesting article, Gian Maria published, and the development of the event went from there. So the floor is yours, Gian Maria.
So thank you, Edward, for the presentation. Thank you for inviting me. I will try to give you some information about sea level rise. So we just are saying many times climate change, coastal erosion, but how coastal erosion is, connected to the sea level rise. So we all know that coastal erosion is connected to the sea level rise because there's a linear, let's say, connection. There's a, double connection with the climate change. So I will give you some information about climate change, where we are now and where we can go in the next, let's say, decades about climate change and in particular the sea level rise. So this is a very common picture about the temperature of the Earth. So this is where we are now. We are very close to 1.5 degrees more than the pre-industrial period. That means we are very close to the limit that the COP in Paris set some years ago. So actually we are running in a very dangerous, let's say, field. And just to give you an idea on where we are now, we are here, more or less. I don't know if it's possible to, okay, there's no way to present the lights. By the way, the increase of the temperature in the last 150 years is something that is not common, it's not natural at all. So it's something that is, due to our way of life on our planet. And this is, we know now that is strictly, connected to the CO2 concentration in the atmosphere that is still running. I mean, so nothing is happening. So we are speaking about limitation, COP. Now there is the COP 30 in Brazil in few days, but nothing is happening. I mean, the CO2 concentration is still increasing. And these are the points all around the planet where the CO2 is measured. So maybe we don't know that the CO2 is measured more or less all around the planet in 129 stations. And one of these stations is just in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea in Lampedusa, that we all know where it is. It's just in the middle of the Mediterranean, belongs to Italy, Lampedusa. And this is one of the few places in the Mediterranean where we collect CO2 information that then is provided to the WMO, that is the weather meteorological organization, that collect all this information, and then we know how the CO2 is increasing all around our planet. But, I mean, the CO2 and the temperature is just an indicator. This is not the problem. I mean, saying that the temperature is increasing 1.5 degrees is not scary at all, because if we just go outside, the temperature is higher than 1 degree. So where is the problem? So the problem is, I don't know, okay, it's like this. This is just the distribution year by year of the temperature all the year in our planet. So as you see, this is just the anomaly, so the difference between the mean temperature of our planet. Year by year, this distribution is changing. This is the problem. So it's not just 1.5 degree in average, the problem, but it's just the distribution. As you can see, we are just increasing the temperature for the high temperature in our planet, while the minimum temperature is decreasing. So this is strictly related to the what we call the the heat stress in our planets is increasing. And this is, for example, last year, where we just hit the maximum temperature recorded since 150 years now. So every place in our planet is, affected by climate change. And this is a real story. This is not just a projection. This is what is happening now, right now, on our planet. So heat means also losing, highs. And this is how many ices we are just losing in the North Pole and the South Pole. So everything is going down dramatically. And when ice, land-based ice, is melting, means that it's just going in the ocean, in the seas. And this is why sea level rise is rising now. But we don't know, maybe most of you don't know that the sea level is rising because of two main reasons. One is just because we are adding water because of the melting of the ice, but 40% is also due to the thermal expansion. So the volume of the ocean is just expanding because it's, absorbing a lot of heat. How many heat we are, absorbing? This is the amount of heat already absorbed by our ocean. That is more or less the 93% of the extra heat that we have produced in the last 150 years have been absorbed by the ocean. So only the 7% is in the atmosphere. So if we have only 1.5 degree more of temperature, now it's thanks to the ocean that has absorbed most of this extra heat. Of course, the ocean is absorbing heat, but it's also increasing the volume, so the sea level rise. So this is the situation. So the sea level has already, we had 10 centimeters more than in the 90s. But if we go even at the beginning of the last centuries, that is in the 1900 years, we have already gained 20 centimeters. But if we go even more in the past, we see that 300 years ago, the situation was completely different. This means that in Venice, we didn't have the same amounts of numbers of days of acqua alta in Venezia, just because since then, in the 300 years ago, the sea level rise was 40 centimeters lower than today. That is a lot. And as you can see, there's a sort of acceleration of this sea level rise, just because we are in a climate change. So, but what about the future? Of course, the future is not just writing the stone, but it depends on us. So we have different scenarios. We can have we can just go on the actual level of CO2 emission, and in this case, we can go even. In terms of mean temperature, we can just go beyond the 2 degrees. That is just a very dramatic threshold. What about sea level? So this is what we know. It depends on the scenario. So depending on the amount of CO2 that we are just pushing in the atmosphere, we can have different Earth, actually. The left upper side it was a scenario just 4 or 5 years ago. Now is where we are now. So this is no more a scenario, this is where we are now. This is 1.5 temperature in average for our planet. But if you see the planet that is just down on the right, this is the planet where we are going now, that is plus 4 degrees compared to the pre-industrial period. And as you can see, the distribution of the temperature is not the same in every place. There are places like the poles that are much more affected, as well as also the Mediterranean is another places where the sea level, the climate change is running faster than in other places. And as you can see, even the precipitation is a completely different, let's say, pattern if we see where we are now, that is just upper left, or if we go down right. And in general, what we say as a climatologist say that where is now raining, there will rain more and more in the future. And where we are now just seeing a sort of limitation of precipitation, this limitation will increase in the future. What about sea level? So we are now speaking about sea level. So these are the scenario, and as you can see, there are different colors. So the best scenario is just the blue one, that is something that is more close to where we are now, actually. And in the best scenario, we can increase 50 centimeters compared to the actual level. or we can go very close to 1 meters more in average on our planet if we go in the worst scenario. But you see also that dashed curve, that is because we don't know exactly what is going to happen in the Antarctica. So we don't know how the Antarctica is losing ice. So there's a sort so we need more studies about the Antarctica, because maybe the Antarctica can lose ice in a more dramatic way compared to what we know now. So the dotted is just saying, okay, there's also another scenario. If the Antarctica can collapse more rapidly, then we thought now the situation can be even worse. But the sea level is not just increasing at the same pace everywhere in the planet. There are some places where, I mean, sea level is increasing more, and in other places where it is increasing less. And this is depend on the fact that 40% of sea level rise depend on the heat accumulated in the ocean. So there are some places where heat is accumulated more than others. But, and this is, I mean, I'm just going to the end. So since the sea level rise is not rising at the same pace, so we need to know exactly the pace of different places all around the world. There are some places where we don't know exactly what will go in the future. One of these is the Mediterranean, for example, just because the Mediterranean is a very small basin that is connected to the Atlantic through the Strait of Gibraltar. And as you are just seeing how the global models that are, I mean, the only instrument that we have to project the climate in the future, see the Mediterranean. So it's something that is even disconnected with the Atlantic. So this is why IPCC said, okay, we don't know exactly what will be the situation in the Mediterranean. So what we have done here in Italy, in Europe, at ENEA, we have just trying to give this information. This is, so we just increased the resolution for the Mediterranean, and we put also a lot of physics inside, because as you know, climate change means a lot of physics, a lot of chemistry, a lot of biogeophysics and biogeochemistry. So this is, everything we say about climate change is based on scientific evidence, of course. So no one knows exactly that the Atlantic Ocean is already now higher than the Mediterranean because of the presence of the Strait of Gibraltar. So we have 50 centimeters below the Atlantic Ocean, just because we have the Strait of Gibraltar. So what we have done in the past was just to understand how the strait works. And we did a lot of, let's say, numerical simulation to understand exactly the physical, let's say, the physics behind the exchange of water that there's every seconds between the Atlantic and the Mediterranean. And this is a model just saying how this works in the Strait of Gibraltar. Again, this is the Strait of Gibraltar are just a very complex way of exchange of water between the Atlantic and the Mediterranean, because maybe you didn't know that the Mediterranean is an evaporative basin. So we lose something like 1 meter of thick of water every year, and we don't see that the Mediterranean is evaporating just because the Atlantic Ocean is providing this mass of water that we are losing for evaporation. And this is the way the Atlantic is just providing the waters. We did the same also with some colleague in Ankara, in Turkey, because they have the same problem. So the Mediterranean is also connected to Black Sea, and we did the same studies for the exchange of water between the from the Mediterranean and the Black Sea. So we just put all these pieces together to have the best representation of the Mediterranean Sea, and this is, of course, how our model, climate model, is working. And what you are seeing is another very important variable for the sea level, that is the tides. So if we have Acqua Alta in Venice, it's just because we have also tides. And as you can see, our model was the first 3D model that was able to represent tides in the Mediterranean. And you see that the very high reddish color and the bluish color are just in the North Adriatic because of the conformation, the geographic conformation of the Mediterranean. So Applying all this information in a climate model, we were able to represent the exchange of water between the Atlantic and the Mediterranean Sea in a very realistic way. So using this very complex model, we just had the best, let's say, model for the Mediterranean that was very close also to the observation, that means satellite. So for the past, our model was able to represent in a very, very good way the past sea level. So applying all this information and the scenario, this is what could happen in the future, for example, for the temperature in the Mediterranean. So the temperature can increase in the future up to 4 or 5 degrees at the end of the centuries. This is one of the worst scenarios for the Mediterranean. But what about sea level? This is what happens in terms of sea level. Sea level is rising for many, many reasons, because of the melting of ice, because there's thermal expansion, but there are also some other geological reasons why the sea level is rising. Putting all this information in a climate model, this is what will happen in, for example, in the Mediterranean. I'm just showing you the Mediterranean because it's a very specific case. But of course, this kind of studies can be done everywhere, also around Maldives. So the same procedure must be applied everywhere in the world. And you can see how the sea level will rise in the Mediterranean Sea. This is just at the end of the century. So we can gain something very close to 1 meters. Actually, we will reach something like 84 centimeters more. What this means in terms of erosion or coastal inundation. So applying also the other information, because sea level is rising, yes, also because the land is going down in some places. So collecting all this information, this is what we can say about the inundation of some places all around Italy. This is just Pianura Pontina, that is south of Rome, and this is for the more or less 2030, 2035. And if we go, at the end of the centuries, more and more land will be flooded because of the sea level rise. And this is what can happen to Rome. This is just the Tibur, this is the Tevere runoff. So we are just very close to here, and as you can see on the right, there will be many, many places that can be flooded just because the sea level is rising. Of course, all this rising will affect also the coastal erosion, because sea level rise increase and coastal erosion will be much, much more active than today. So this is all of my side. Of course, this is just one scenario, but there are also, other scenarios that are less, let's say, dramatic. But in any case, if you see different scenarios from the left to the right to the Mediterranean, and even for the sea level rise, in any case, even in the very best scenarios, that is the left scenarios, we will have something like between 20-25 centimeters more around the Mediterranean Sea. And this means that in many, many places that are already now affected by sea level rise, like, for example, Venice or Egypt, for example, around the Mediterranean, we will have a lot of problems. And, of course, also other small islands in the Pacific or in the Indian Ocean will be strongly affected, as the Maldivian knows very well, by sea level rise. So let me just conclude my presentation with this sentence from Sherwood Rowland, that is a scientist who just took the Nobel Prize. He is a chemistry, and he said, what's the use of having developed the science well enough to make prediction if, in the end, all we are willing to do is stand around and wait for them to come through? So this is just for the young generation. So we need to do more. We need to act. So the science is clear. We know what will be in the future. So there is nothing that we can predict with 80 years in advance. But we can do this for the climate. This is a very great, let's say, advantage. But we are just losing this advantage just doing nothing. So it's also, I mean, something that you, young generation, has to push a lot, because, I mean, the planet, the planet that we are leaving to you is something that is very different from our planet, and this is not good for you. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Gian-Maria. It's very interesting, very good to see models. In fact, we did an event last week, 1 week ago, on the Antarctic.
Okay.
And we had the benefit of our last speaker from ESA, the polar group, presenting some models on the Antarctic. So both of our events, in fact, you called what's going to happen with the Antarctic. We had a small window into that last week, but in particular, the modelling that is being done on the Antarctic and the modelling you showed today. And so with that, I want to thank you for that presentation, which, I mean, to me, sat very well between the ministers' governmental type presentation and Gianni's legislative approach to the problem, all parts that have to work together. But on this model side, can I take the opportunity to call for other questions? But can I ask first that our corporates who are involved in this modelling side, one of the corporates here, who we have a few who are involved in the modelling, having seen also Gian-Maria's presentation, make some comment or ask some question about that. Thank you.
Thank you for very interesting. Thank you for this presentation. I would like to share our point of view, because it's a complex problem to tackle, and probably, as said before from Mr. Lattanzio, is multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary aspect that we have to take in consideration, because we have to put together the state-of-art of research and the state-of-art of technology, what we can bring from the market, from the corporate, that help government to address the problem. And also we have to take in consideration norms and directives, because we have to probably have a top-down approach to the problem, because we start from norms and directives, then we have to verify the state-of-art of research, take what is possible to use from technology, and then transform in a support decision system. That is exactly what we're trying to do with our clients and partners. And so probably we need to set up a control room where all these actors put together on the table their respective skills, capability, research, and give the government and to the who have to deal with the action that I suppose should be taken in the I don't want to say immediately, but first is better this way. Just to share this approach, that it's to put together a different aspect of the problem, and it's indeed the solution itself.
Thank you very much for that. Any other corporate would like to? Well, just we'll touch the corporate side first. You don't have?
Thank you. A question. The digital twin system is possible to use in this context, in this situation, in this context, physical simulation. So not macro relevation, but also digital twin simulation on cost or local system. Thank you.
Yeah, yes, actually, what we did was just, a model that was state of the art, actually. Just to give an answer to the IPCC who said, okay, we need to do more. Okay, so this was more, actually. And yeah, but the digital twin is something that are trying to put all together. Satellite data, in situ data, best, let's say, modeling, and now also artificial intelligence and whatever. So, but let me say that from my point of view now, the digital twin is more a cool words to say, like green. We know many different. So, but no one knows exactly what a digital twin. Maybe we can have a rough idea, but no one knows exactly the way to reach the best digital twin. So that's, from my point of view, just a general idea. Okay, so we have to put together different fields, satellites, modeling, and so on, but no one knows exactly how to do that, actually. So that's why now there's also Destiny shares this European initiative to try to bring all the different actors and try to pave the way to this digital twin that up to now, from my point of view, is just a very nice idea, no more than a very nice idea.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, so thank you very much for that comment, and that it appears that we have to not only all start working together, all these different disciplines work together, and but we have to actually start the work. Indra from the Commonwealth Club.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Sanino. It was a very interesting preparation of data. And I have a question, not only me, most probably also the Maldives. Have you done any experiments on updated and innovative of tsunami warning for the countries? For example, 2004, we lost 230,000, poor people. There was no such a warning system. I don't know whether your institution like NAI is doing some experiments on this. Thank you.
No, we are not working on tsunami, but at international level, there's the NOAA. I don't know if still working on that, because in the US now the situation about research is a little bit in trouble. So, but there's a specific, let's say, office that is monitoring tsunami. So once there's an earthquake somewhere, they just launch the simulations and launch also the alarm. So at international level, the US is the best, let's say, in this moment, also because they have also some buoy all around the planet. So they know they can launch the alarm, and they actually launch the alarm. Then there is also, if I'm not wrong, the Japanese institution who is doing something similar. About the Mediterranean, there's, yes, in Italy, there's now tsunami alert that is more difficult not to predict, but to alarming, because the Mediterranean Sea is a very small basin, and as you know, the tsunami wave, they propagate at very high velocity. So it means that after an earthquake, you can have the inundation due to the tsunami after very few minutes. Few minutes means 4 or 5 minutes. So even give the alarm is very difficult. But in Italy, there's the civil protection who is working with the ENGV, that is our, geological, let's say, research institute in Italy, who is trying to do this exercise. But at international level, yes, US is the best institution now is giving this information with some minutes in advance, or hours, because in some cases of this, I don't know if you have idea of the tsunami, they propagate and they need even some hours to move from the sources of where they generated to the coast of Indian Ocean or the Atlantic Ocean or the Pacific. So yeah, but they are the best so far. And even the kind of modeling is completely different. So modeling a tsunami is different from modeling sea level or something like that. So from a physical point of view, the equation that we have to solve are completely different.
Thank you. Maybe we could have a comment from Mr. Alamin from the Bangladesh Embassy, Economic Councillor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Edward. And no, just I'm asking that if there are more questions for Mr. Sanino, then you can open the floor for all. And if there is no, then I can have some comments on today's event.
Oh. And then I'll prepare some questions and...
Yes, thank you. Then I would like to convey my thanks and appreciation to Commonwealth Club for arranging this, and also thanks to His Excellency the Minister of Maldives and today's presenter Mr. Sanino and all other colleagues present here. My intervention will be just two parts. First part will be the scenario that Bangladesh is facing now, and the second part will be just the call for action, what we can do in these days. I am not an expert, but what I am observing in recent days, especially while I am working in FAO, IFAD and WFP, these activities, then I could get some specific things regarding the situation of climate change. Also, the climate change is affecting the global south, mostly the developing countries, the small island countries, and the deltaic countries like Bangladesh. And I think you are kindly aware that the population of my country is 180 million, and the land area, that is 1/3 of Italy's land area, but population is 3 times of Italy's population. And if you consider the coastal line where the people live, that is around 60 million, that means your population is living just on the coastal line of Bangladesh. So what is the consequences? There is a common saying in my country that we are calling some people, just making fun or like this, that coastal refugees. There are some Bangla terms. I am not using that term, but I am just using a verbal English term, that coastal refugees, because almost every year we found many people replacing their position from south to north, because south is on the coastal areas and north is upper portion. North is not affected by that coastal erosion, or but they are also affected by other natural calamities, because it's I mentioned it's a deltaic region. There are many rivers inside the country, and which is connected with the Bay of Bengal. So likewise Maldives. Maldives is the leading countries regarding raising their voices on coastal climate change issues and coastal erosion and other natural hazards. But Bangladesh is also one of the most vulnerable countries. I think Maldives and Bangladesh remain in the first 5, their position, considering the climate vulnerabilities. And we are taking part, all other international forums, actions taken, different symposiums, seminars, and also even initiatives around these issues. But what we are getting, I have very less understanding regarding the event on COP. I don't know what the developing countries, what the small island countries are getting the support from this framework. And also UNFCCC that is working on climate change issues, that tries to mitigate the climate vulnerabilities and also try to rehabilitate the distressed people. But what the small island countries and developing countries are getting from them, That's a basic question. And also regarding technology transfer, that we all are hearing regarding the issues that Mediterranean that is doing. But European countries are a bit developed countries. Technology is up to them, so things are a bit normal to them. They can manage, they can maintain, and they can settle down. But what about the third world countries? What about the small island countries? There is no specific action taken. So it's time not to just discuss, it's time to go for action. It's time for commitment, it's time for effective funding. So I would like to request that Commonwealth Club, they are arranging this type of events, so there should be some outcome documents. We are discussing, we have some recommendation, we have some next course of action, what we can do in future. And we may be the vocal of this Commonwealth group, because we are a group of countries where there are also developing countries, developed countries, less developed countries, all are together. So it's a common platform. We can raise our voice regarding these climate change issues and the sufferings of the mankind. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. And Councillor is always supportive of the club, and we have a project at the moment in relation to small states, and which we're trying to implement. And it was good to see in the question earlier on that there is a little bit of knowledge about the Commonwealth and how many Commonwealth of our states are on the coastline. And I'll give you that. So that's another statistic for you, that we have 33 small island states, and we have about 2/3 of those SIDS that are referred to in the UN system are ours. Having said that, thank you again, Councillor, for your comments. We should turn to the students for a couple last questions before. There we go. That's great. We see hands up straight away.
Thank you. Sorry. Okay. My question was in response to the final quote that Sannino was so kind to share with us, just about how we need to be able to take action, and aligned action is the most necessary part. Because we have the research, we have the statistics, we have satellite research, and we have climate research. So I wanted to ask mostly to the international diplomats and counselors in the room, and also some of the representatives of the Commonwealth, if you could share some of the challenges that you're facing accomplishing combined efforts on multilateral policymaking, and how your countries believe that more multilateral efforts could be established to get the commitment and the effective funding that's needed for effective change. Thank you.
We'll take the other question and then we'll ask you to respond. Please.
Good morning, my name is Leonardo, I'm a second year global governance student. Thank you so much for your presentation, Mr. Sannino. I found it really, really interesting. However, I do have a few questions. First of all, we said that we don't know how, like we talked about ice melting and Antarctica, and we don't actually know what will happen, which scenario we are heading towards, because we don't have basically enough data to know it. But however, we do know that we cannot invert the process of ice melting. Am I wrong? So we can just slow down the pace at which this is happening, right? And isn't it something that should be mentioned in your presentation, or that we should spread awareness on this matter? Another thing that I want wanted to ask, which is mainly about out of my curiosity, is that you said that the extra heat that has been absorbed is mainly by the ocean and only a small percentage by the atmosphere. And I was wondering if there might be a potential way in which we can absorb that heat in a perhaps artificial way, or store it somewhere and use it in a sustainable way, for example. Last but not least, I wanted to ask, like you obviously said that climate change is based on scientific data, and this is basically a fact, but what do you think about people not indifferent, like for example a particular president who affirmed that climate change is a hoax? How can we fight this thing, because it's a matter of everyone, not just for us, young generation, but it's going to affect everyone in the next future. Thank you.
Thank you for those questions, and yes, it's great to open the floor to students because there's always something interesting coming out. We'll start with the Economic Council from Bangladesh Embassy.
Thank you
for
the question regarding the engagement or support from multilateral end, if I am not wrong. Our organizations, international organizations like United Nations and other bodies that are working on climate change, they have taken many initiatives. We do agree this thing, but problem is that sometimes their actions are overlapped, their actions are not properly coordinated. And another thing is that if you want to implement a project or program in a country, there are some issues with regional cooperation also, because if you want to do one thing, your neighboring country or a country of your region also asks the same thing, or creates some impediment that you cannot implement that project. That's another thing. So we need to do 2-3 things. Firstly, to enhance the regional cooperation. If you look at the regional organization in different areas also, I am frank to say that we have also a regional body that is called SAARC, South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. It is inactive for a long time due to the tension within the countries, problems or conflicts, and also lack of confidence within the political leadership. These things happens to all regional organizations. If these regional organizations are functional, in that case, the projects taken to against this type of climate change adversities, that will be effective. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Alamin. Gian-Maria, can you address those other questions?
Yeah, a lot of questions. Starting from the easiest one, that is the part on physical data. Sea level rise is one of the, let's say, climate variable that is already deeply compromised because of the heat that we have already absorbed. So the response of the ocean to the expansion is not like this. So we need tens of years to see the response of the sea level rise. This means that if we close every CO2 emission today, the sea level will rise in any case, just because it's responding to something that have been already compromised in the last 150 years. So yes, something similar happens also to the ice, but actually sea level, independently from the melting of the ice, will rise in any case. This means that so there is nothing to do because of, okay, sea level is already compromised. No, because we can work on the velocity of the sea level rise. So we need in any case to delay the sea level rise as much as possible. So we have to do as much as possible to reduce the emission. Then from a political point of view, what we can do? That's a very good question. I mean, at the end, even the highest politicians politicians that are elected by the people. So this means we don't need to work only on politicians, because in any case politicians, I mean, are not forever, hopefully. And so we need to speak to the people, and like you, young generation, to explain that, see, the climate change is something real, is something that affected already now our planet. Actually, it's not affecting the planet. The planet have already seen changing in climate even worse than today. The problem is that at that time we were not there, actually. So the problem is not for the planet, it's for the people that live on the planet. So we have to do our best to share the information, to say to the people. So even conference like this are, I mean, this is at a higher level, but conference, I in general go also around to schools or in public, let's say, public meeting to explain where is the problem. So this is what me and other, colleagues are doing also for the civil society. But you that are young, and from my point of view, have much more clear the problem, has also to do something, organize meeting, also to explain to other young people where is the problem. So you can do a lot, actually. And about the politician, from my point of view, politician is just the expression of the people that are below. So we need to not convince, but just to explain to the people where is the problem, just to avoid to have as high-level politician people like this.
Yeah, just say young people need to vote more.
Yeah, can the consul?
Just to give to you the Maldivian experience on this. In 2009, with the first government opening to the free election, if someone of you, maybe you are too young, the first cabinet was under the sea. All the ministers diving, and everybody was down the sea, just to show to the international community the problem of the climate change. Climate change in the Maldives is the first topic. You know why? Because the first economy is tourism. The second economy is fish. So the impact of the climate change on the circular economy of the country is basic. So, you know, stupid things that the government can do. For example, in the Maldives, for the constructions, if you want to import all the materials with the zero environment impact, you don't pay taxation. If it's prohibited from the 1st of January to import electronic cigarette, you say, oh, come on, electronic cigarette is a stupid thing. It's not a stupid thing, because you have to imagine the impact of the rubbish and everything for the electronic cigarette. You cannot import even in your pocket. It means that if someone take you at the custom with an electronic cigarette, you go out from the Maldives. You know what I mean? There are some few things. For example, the relation between Italy and Maldives is for many years. The first resort in the Maldives was Italian. And now from about 15 years, Bicocca, the University of Bicocca has an island where they study and develop the corals. Even like Mr. Sanino Enea, he was in the Maldives 3 times, that's what he told me before. There are few things that the government can do, but believe me, in the Maldives, it's a small country, only 400,000 people live over there, Maldivians, but 2 million people came in the Maldives every year. So this is a city. So if it's a city like Rome. So that's why it's important for the Maldives. It's a small country, but the climate change is the focus of the country. So, but the mentality of you can imagine from the Maldivian kids, when they have 3 years, they learn English at the school. So if you talk with the Maldivian kids at 6 years, they speak English like us, because they teach English in the school from the 3rd age. So there are a few things that you can do, but it's important that you are a young international community, show to the people, and not with a stupid demonstration on the street, but in the international community. You have to be there. I'm professor in sport law, for example, so in anti-doping, you know, at the beginning of the story of anti-doping, nobody of the athletes was there. Now the athletes understand how is important the doping for them, because it's something for the health. So that's you, like younger generation must do this. Even, and finish, our state minister that made the speech before is very young. He's only 32 years old, but he's specialized on coral impact, and that's why it's important also that some people that understand how is the climate change, how is the impact of the climate change, stay in the government. No, if you are a doctor and you are the minister of the environment, what you can do? Thank you. Sorry for the time.
Thank you, Consul. And before I pass over to Federazione del Mare to close the event, I just want to thank everybody from the Commonwealth Club side, and all our speakers, Consul, the Minister, Gian Maria, and Gianni Latanzio, the Bangladesh councillor who's had to leave. Thank you all for participating, you corporates, Commonwealth Club members, students, a little bit of Commonwealth Club publicity. We have our Remembrance Day event on 11 November for all of you that want to come along and get to know the other aspects of the club. And with that, again, thank you to Festival of Diplomacy, and thank you to Federazione del Mare.
I thank you all for this very interesting roundtable, also because it was animated roundtable with all people around the table speaking, so not only the speakers. So thank you. I hope to see you soon again for another interesting occasion. And to conclude this meeting, I kindly ask you if you all want to come here in this side of the table, we can take a photo of all the group. And then I think there is still some drink and some coffee in the room that you have already seen, and to stay just a few minutes together and continue to meet. Thank you.
Thank you. Please come up for the photo.